The silence in the R&D lab was a thick, expensive tomb. Buried under the corpse of $1 million dream, Elian Vance, CEO of Auratech, stared at the inert prototype on the obsidian table. The Auracore was a sleek silver disc meant to revolutionize home energy. It was also, for the 15th consecutive time, completely, utterly dead. Around him, his best engineers, 15 of them, stood with the slumped shoulders of defeated men. The air smelled of burnt coffee, solder, and despair. Asterisk again. Elian's voice was gravel, worn raw from a 72-hour marathon of failure. Walk me through the failure point again. Asterisk. Arjun, his head of R&D, gestured weakly at a holographic schematic. The quantum fluctuation regulator is destabilizing the entire core matrix. We've recalibrated, rewritten the damping code, replaced the hardware. It's a fundamental flaw in the theory, Elian. It can't hold. Asterisk can't is a word for people who have the luxury of quitting. Elian shot back, his gaze cutting through the room. He was a man carved from ambition and grief, his dark eyes shadowed by a loss that was 2 years old but felt as fresh as yesterday. We launch in 6 weeks. This will work. Asterisk just then. A soft, hesitant voice pierced the tension. Daddy. Asterisk, all heads turned. In the doorway stood Lily, his 7-year-old daughter, her small hand clutching the hand of her nanny, Maya. Lily's eyes were wide with a fear that had become familiar since her mother's passing, the fear of a world constantly on the verge of falling apart. Asterisk Maya offered a small, apologetic smile. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Lily had a nightmare. She wouldn't settle without seeing you. Asterisk Maya was the calm in the storm of his life. 26 with eyes the color of warm earth and a quiet steadiness that seemed to anchor his chaotic world. She'd been with them for a year, a miracle worker who could coax laughter from Lily and, on rare occasions, a genuine smile from him. Asterisk Elian's stern facade cracked for a single, vulnerable second. He knelt, opening his arms. Lily ran into them, burying her face in his suit jacket. Asterisk the monster was in the shiny circle. Daddy, she whispered, her voice trembling. Asterisk, he held her tight. His heart, a conflicting mess of love and frantic crashing pressure. There's no monster, sweetheart. It's just a machine that's being very, very stubborn. Asterisk from her safe perch in his arms, Lily looked over at the Auracore. She pointed a tiny finger. It's sad. Asterisk Arjun sighed, rubbing his temples. It's not sentient, Lily. It's broken. It's Terrace Maya, who had been quietly observing the scene. Her gaze flicking from the frantic engineers to the sleek, dead device, took a hesitant step forward. Her voice was barely a whisper, but it carried in the tomb-like silence. Asterisk the magnet, she said. Asterisk Elian looked up, confused. What? Asterisk Maya's cheeks flushed, but she held her ground. The little magnet. On the induction coil. It's upside down. Asterisk, a beat of stunned silence was followed by a snort of derision from a junior engineer. The what? The housing magnet. That's irrelevant. It's just for assembly. It has zero bearing on the quantum matrix. Asterisk, but Maya didn't back down. She looked directly at Elian, her gaze clear and certain. In my final year of my physics doctorate, I worked on a similar resonant frequency project. A reversed polarity in a dumb magnetic field can create a standing wave that cancels out the entire primary oscillation. It's like trying to sing a note while someone sings the exact opposite note right next to you. The sound just dies. Asterisk, the room fell so silent they could hear the hum of the overhead lights. A physics doctorate? She was the nanny. Asterisk Elian looked from Maya's earnest face to the sneering engineers. Desperation was a bitter taste in his mouth. He had tried everything. Everything logical. Everything expensive. Asterisk. Arjun, he said, his voice low. Flip the magnet. Asterisk Elian, with all due respect. That's asterisk. Flip it. Asterisk with a sigh of profound exasperation. Arjun picked up a micro tool, leaned over the core, located the tiny half-centimeter magnet on the outer rim of the induction coil, and pried it loose. He flipped it over. It clicked into place. Asterisk, he stepped back, arms crossed. C. Nothing. For 3 heartbeats there was nothing. Then a soft, ethereal blue light pulsed from the center of the aura core. It grew, swirling like a captured nebula, filling the room with a gentle, resonant hum. The holographic display above it, previously a mess of error codes, bloomed with perfect, stable data. It was working. The silence that followed was no longer a tomb, but a sanctuary of awe. 15 of the brightest minds in energy tech had failed. His nanny, in 30 seconds, with a single observation, had solved it. Leon stared at the living, breathing heart of his company. Then his eyes shifted to Maya. She was looking not at the device, but at Lily, giving her a small, secret wink. Lily beamed an asterisk in that moment. Something broke open inside Elian, the impregnable fortress he'd built around. His heart, since his wife's death, developed a fissure, and through it poured a torrent of emotions he couldn't name. Awe, gratitude, shame, and a terrifying, undeniable attraction. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind. The Aura Core was on track for launch, and Elian Vance was a changed man. Or more accurately, he was becoming the man he'd been before tragedy struck. He laughed more. He came home for dinner on time. He watched Maya with a new, intense fascination that went far beyond professional gratitude. One evening, after he'd put Lily to bed, I'd found Maya on the terrace, looking out over the city lights. The success of the core had hung between them. It's an unspoken revolution. You never told me you had a doctorate, he said. Handing her a glass of wine, she accepted it with a small smile. You never asked? The job posting was for a nanny. My qualifications in physics didn't seem relevant. Why? He asked, genuinely bewildered. Why are you here, looking after my daughter, when you could be running your own lab? Maya's smile faded. She looked down into her glass. Life doesn't always go according to plan, Elian. My research grant was pulled. My mentor. Things became complicated. I needed a job. Any job. And then I met Lily. Her voice softened. She's the best part of my day. She adores you, Elian said, his voice thick. He stepped closer. I am in awe of you. The air crackled between them. The city hummed below, a symphony of possibilities. Maya, he whispered, his hand reaching to brush a stray strand of hair from her face. You saved my company. You saved me from myself. You've brought light back into this house, back into my life. His lips were inches from hers. He could feel the warmth of her breath. See the conflict in her beautiful eyes, a war between caution and what he hoped was desire? Elian. She began, but her words were lost as he closed the distance and kissed her. It was not a gentle kiss. It was a confession, a release. It was 2 years of loneliness and grief pouring out of him, met by a surprising, desperate hunger from her. When they finally broke apart, they were both breathless. Stay, he pleaded, his forehead resting against hers. Not as the nanny. Stay with me. With us. Tears welled in Maya's eyes. They looked like tears of joy, but there was a profound, gut-wrenching sorrow in them. Elian. There's something I have to tell you, she said, her voice breaking. Something I should have told you a long time ago. Whatever it is. It doesn't matter, he said, his heart soaring. Convinced nothing could shatter this perfect moment. It does, she insisted, pulling away. She took a deep, shuddering breath, her hands trembling. The magnet. On the Aura Core. What about it? He asked, smiling. You were brilliant. I didn't figure it out because of my doctorate, she whispered, her gaze dropping to the floor. I knew it was upside down, because I was the one who put it that way. The world stopped. The city's symphony became a deafening roar in his ears. What? The word was a blade, sharp and cold. Tears streamed down her face now, unrestrained. My old mentor, Dr. Kalin. When your company outbid his for the core patent, he recruited me. He knew you were hiring domestic staff. He paid me to get close, to find a way to sabotage the prototype, to delay you long enough for his team to catch up. Elian stumbled back as if struck. The terrace, the city, the very air it, all turned to ice. The nightmare. Lily, was that part of the plan too? He choked out, the betrayal so profound it felt physical. No. God, no. Maya cried. Lily is real. Everything I feel for her. For you, it all became real. That's why I couldn't go through with it. I was supposed to introduce a fatal flaw in the code during the final test, but I couldn't. I saw what it was doing to you. I saw Lily's fear. I fell in love with you. So I did the opposite. I fixed the only mistake I'd already made. He stared at her, the woman who had saved his company and his heart, who was also the viper he had invited into his nest, the architect of his recent despair and the source of his recent salvation. They were the same person. Get out, he said, his voice dangerously quiet. Ilian, please. Get out. He roared, the sound raw and torn from his soul. She flinched, nodded slowly, and walked back into the penthouse. A ghost in the home she had made warm. He stood on the terrace, alone, the brilliant, successful CEO. The single father who had just had his heart expertly broken. The aura core glowed triumphantly in the lab far below, a monument to his success, and to the unforgettable, heartbreaking twist that had made it possible. He had found his miracle only to discover it was built on a lie, and in the chilling silence, he was left with a single, devastating question. Had she saved him despite her betrayal, or because of it?